You know, sometimes proving the truth can be even stranger than fiction. Today we're going to talk about 15 crazy sounding conspiracy theories that actually turned out to be true. So let's begin. And the first one, the Watergate scandal. One of the most well-known political scandals was Watergate. In the 1970s, 5 men broke into the Democratic National Committee's headquarters with the intention to photograph campaign documents. They were caught. The Nixon administration attempted to cover up its involvement. This eventually led to Nixon's registration and the indictment of 69 people who were involved in some form. Number 2, Operation Paperclip. After World War II, the United States created a secret joint intelligence objective agency in which they brought more than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians, many of whom had direct ties to the Nazi Party, to work for the government. Known as Operation Paperclip, its primary focus was for the U.S. to gain an advantage in the Cold War. So yeah, that's right, America hired a bunch of Nazi scientists. They brought them over after World War II to America to work for NASA, to help build nuclear weapons, stuff like that. So instead of getting the proper punishment they deserved, they got really nice jobs with benefits. Alright, number 3, Operation Snow White. The Church of Scientology didn't want anything bad about them on record, and they went to criminal means to do it, called Operation Snow White. It included an estimated 5,000 covert agents of church members who infiltrated 136 government agencies to scrub unfavorable records about Scientology and its founder, L. Ron Hubbard. I don't know much about Scientology. One time I was researching it, trying to figure out, but it's really hard to find information on it. For some reason, what it's about, what they actually believe. The only thing I know about is that Tom Cruise is part of the Church of Scientology. But that's about it. It's just some weird cult. They believe in aliens or something like that. I have no idea. Number 4, USS Iowa turret explosion. In 1989, an explosion occurred on the USS Iowa and killed 47 of the crewmen who were manning a 16-inch gun turret. To explain what happened, 2 investigations occurred, but came to conflicting conclusions. According to the U.S. Navy, one of the crew members, Clayton Hartwig, had deliberately caused the explosion because of a homosexual relationship with a fellow crew member that went away. After further investigation, however, the cause was concluded to be because of an excess of powder bags into the breech of the turret. The Navy never admitted to wrongdoing. Number 5, the Black Box Scandal. The Black Box Scandal accused 8 members of the Chicago White Sox of deliberately losing the 1919 World Series against the Cincinnati Reds in exchange for money. After a public trial in 1921, the men were all permanently banned from professional football. Number 6, this one's pretty funny, the fruit machine. The idea of a gaydar, the ability to tell whether or not someone is gay, might seem silly nowadays, but back in 1961, it was real. At the height of the Cold War, the Canadian government hired Frank Robert Way to create a scientific test that'll determine if someone was gay. The reason for this was to identify communist sympathizers and get them out of the government. So yeah, they worked on a lot of weird stuff during the Cold War, and apparently they're trying to figure out a gaydar machine. Wonder if it worked. Okay, number 7, Project MK Ultra. Project MK Ultra, aka the CIA's mind control program, lasted about 20 years, and it was a sanctioned way for the agency to perform experiments on human subjects. Most famously, they give people LSD to unwitting subjects in social situations. To administer these tests, no medical personnel was available. Often this resulted in subjects being sick for days. Number 8, Gulf of Tonkin incident. The fictitious Gulf of Tonkin helped draw the United States deeper into a Vietnam War. Originally, it was claimed by the National Security Agency that North Vietnamese Navy fired torpedo boats toward the USS Maddox on August 4, 1964. But that was later discovered were Tonkin ghosts, aka false radar images, and no evidence of the boats. But that didn't matter because the Gulf of Tonkin never happened, but was used as an excuse for the U.S. expanding warfare against North Vietnam. Wow. This one was very strange. Number 9, Bohemian Grove. Every July, some of the richest and most powerful men in the world head to Bohemian Grove, a 2,700-acre compound in California, to engage in a series of hush-hush ceremonies that include costumes, theaters, and music. It may or may not include former U.S. presidents, oil tycoons, and other business leaders freely urinating on redwood trees. So basically, the Bohemian Grove is a strange club, and it's north of San Francisco in a forest, and a bunch of powerful people get together every year, and they do a bunch of weird stuff. You could actually find leaked videos of it on YouTube that Alex Jones took when he snuck in, and they're all dressed in robes, doing weird little ceremonies next to a big old owl statue with an altar that's on fire. Just a bunch of weird, strange stuff happens there. Richard Nixon has also been a member there, and also the Clintons and a bunch of presidents, famous people, most powerful people. And one time in an interview that was recorded, Richard Nixon was talking about the Bohemian Grove and what he saw there, and he said it was the most something thing he's ever seen. Basically, he was saying that they do a lot of nasty stuff up in there, according to him. But yeah, let's move on. Number 10, CIA giving money to Tibetan exiles. Determined to undermine communist governments, the CIA gave $1.7 million a year to Tibetan exiles and their efforts against China. This also included payments to the Dalai Lama, which amounted to $180,000 annually. Well, the boy was getting paid mad money. The purpose of the program, explained in a memo written by U.S. intelligence officials, is to keep the political concepts of an autonomous Tibet alive with Tibet and among foreign nations, principally India, and to build a capability for resistance against possible political development inside communist China. You know, I always thought the Dalai Lama was against like materialism and stuff, but this boy was getting paid $180,000 every year. Like, that's okay. Number 11, Abraham Lincoln's assassination. John Wilkes Booth is talked about in history books as being the man who killed President Abraham Lincoln, but it turns out that he didn't act alone. 9 other people were found to assist Wilkes Booth in some way, including a woman named Mary Surratt, who was the first woman to be executed by the United States. Number 12, human tissues collected for atomic bomb tests. This one is very nasty and creepy. Project Sunshine doesn't sound so funny when you find out what it's about. That's a nice little name for this one. In the 1950s, the U.S. government secretly collected human tissue primarily from cadavers without permission from next of kin. The purpose was to monitor the effects of radioactive fallout from nuclear weapons tests. More than 1,500 samples, many of them babies, were gathered around the world. Dr. Willard Libby, a researcher and commission member, is quoted saying, "I don't know how to get them human samples, but I do say that it's a matter of prime importance to get them, and particularly in the young age group. So human samples are of prime importance, and if anybody knows how to do a good job of body snatching, they will really be serving their country." So yeah, I guess they were stealing baby parts from cemeteries or something. I think that's all it was. Maybe it's from somewhere else too. But they were stealing baby parts to test radioactive fallout from nuclear weapons. Nice. Number 13, Bayer's medicine causes AIDS. In the mid-1980s, pharmaceutical company Bayer discovered that their blood-clotting medicine for hemophiliacs carried a high risk of transmitting AIDS. They fixed the problem in 1984, but didn't pull the dangerous product from the market. Instead, they sold it to Asia and Latin America, while Europe and the United States got newer versions. Nice. Number 14, the testimony that helped launch the Gulf War. On October 10, 1990, a 15-year-old girl known as Naria gave a tearful testimony that recounted a terrifying event. She said she witnessed Iraqi soldiers take babies out of incubators in Kuwait hospitals, take the incubators, and then leave the children to die. The harrowing description helped the U.S. rationalize their decision to back Kuwait in the Gulf War. But Naria's testimony was proven false. She was actually the daughter of Saudi al-Saab, the Kuwait ambassador to the United States. So yeah, apparently it was false, and well, as usual, a lot of innocent people have to die because of lies. But yeah. And last but not least, this one was very, very messed up, and it's the Tuskegee syphilis study. The Tuskegee syphilis study is one of the most infamous clinical studies in American history, conducted between 1932 and 1972, so that's 40 years. It observed the natural progression of syphilis in black men in rural Alabama. Unfortunately, this was not known to those involved in the study. They thought they were receiving free health care from the government. So yeah, the government was telling them that you're receiving free health care, but it turns out they were studying the effects of syphilis and would often not even give him cures for the syphilis. They were just studying the long-term effects. But yeah, that's pretty messed up. And I hope you guys understand why I have a lot of trust issues. But yeah, these were the crazy conspiracy theories that turned out to be true, and they turned into conspiracy facts. Thank you for listening. All right, we're done.